What up, y'all? On today's video, I'm doing a reaction and review for the new Black Panther movie. Y'all ready? It's lit.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry. You can
Yeah. What's up, y'all? I'm back. Hey, happy Black History Month. What up, y'all? This is your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and you're tuned into another episode of On the Bright Side. If this is your first time on my channel, please go ahead and click that like button for me right there if you're on a computer, or right there if you're on a phone. Share this video, and if you watch the whole thing and you enjoy the video, you might as well support your boy and subscribe to my channel. On this channel, I talk all things music and entertainment, while always keeping things positive and always finding the bright side of everything. Okay, guys, so like I said, this is gonna be a reaction and review to the new Black Panther movie that just came out. The movie just came out this past Friday on February 16th here in America, and I also did a reaction and review for the album for the to the movie that came out last week. That was pretty much, like I said, curated by Kendrick Lamar and TDE, and it had a lot of features on it. That was an amazing project, a great companion to the film. So go check out my review on it. I'll probably post a card up here. But yeah, the movie just came out on February 16th. I saw it twice this weekend. That's how good it was. Like I was saying before in my review for the album, this new Black Panther film, it's a film that explores the life of the Black Panther superhero. Also, his name is T'Challa, and it explores his home life and his backstory and his current struggles after dealing with the loss of his father and growing into becoming a king for the kingdom of Wakanda. So, like I said, I saw this movie twice because it was that good, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go see it not only one time with the Young Black Professionals Network in Boston, but I was also able to see the movie again a second time with the Wakanda Rising group. So go check out that movement on social media, Wakanda Rising. Shout out to y'all. So that was an amazing experience to be able to watch the movie for the second time and discuss the themes in depth at the event that was held after that screening that I just went to on Sunday. So this movie, I can't talk enough about how anticipated this movie was. It was probably one of the most anticipated movies, not only of this year, but it was probably one of the most anticipated Black movies in a long time. And I definitely think this movie delivered, not only in terms of its execution, but in terms of its themes and visuals and just overall impact. I think this movie really delivered on all fronts. But what I want to do for this video is kind of just go into what I think were some of the most important themes of the movie and what I really got from watching the film, and I just want to start the conversation and get the conversation going as to what we're seeing in this movie and where not only we can go as Black people, but where we can go as an entire species of people moving forward from this film, because I think everybody has something that they can learn and take from this film, and I really just want to discuss some of the most important themes that I noticed throughout the film. So y'all ready for this? Let's go! Okay, y'all, so the first theme that I want to touch upon is what I think was pretty much one of the most central themes to the movie. And in this theme, what I noticed was, so we all saw how from the beginning of the movie to the end, there was this theme of Wakanda struggling with using its resources to pretty much help the world or to keep itself sustained and content. And what I mean by that is, like we saw, T'Challa as the new upcoming king and all the people around him always at different points in the movie were shedding different points of view, and they were shedding different vantage points on Wakanda's responsibility to itself and to the world in terms of its Wakanda letting people use its resources, or letting the world use its resources. And I thought this was a fascinating theme and pretty much one of the most central to the movie, because what I got from this was pretty much Wakanda being a symbolization of pretty much Africa as a whole, and the technology of Wakanda, the amazing gadgets, the amazing weapons, the vibranium that is running throughout almost everything in the kingdom. To me, that technology and that vibranium was a symbolization of things that Africa holds on to dearly as a continent, and the various countries that make up the continent, and the various resources they hold, such as oil and textiles and arts and culture, and just the geography of the continent, the amazing plains. Just, you know, there's so much, there's so many beautiful resources, and you know, there's so many resources available in Africa that the world knows about, and that was even hinted about in the movie, which I think is a beautiful thing to think about. Maybe some resources that the world doesn't even know about yet, that Africa is secretly holding on to. So I thought this was a beautiful thing to touch, because there was that dichotomy of whether or not Wakanda should, you know, continue to shield itself from the world and continue to sustain its own nation and sustain its own people with its own resources, or whether or not to use its main resource of vibranium and all their amazing technology to help the black people that are excuse me, the black people that are living in America and in nations outside of Wakanda, you know, using those resources to uplift those black people so that they can, you know, take the power back into themselves and realize how great they are as people, because they have a nation that people know about, but they don't know, you know, all the resources that nation has. Having that nation be a symbol of the greatest level of black people in this, you know, future, you know, world that the movie portrayed. So if you followed me on that, I just really think, to me, that I really appreciate that thing the most, and it was one of the most central to the movie, because it was brought up at different points in very brilliant ways. And like I said, I love how everybody had different points. Okay, so kind of touching more upon the dichotomy that I was talking about, you know, really digging deep into this theme. The main debate throughout the movie was, you know, on one side, if Wakanda were to have kept its resources and, you know, to sustain and really hold down its own people, there's beauty in that, because Wakanda is protected, and there's a pride in keeping Wakanda protected, especially for T'Challa and his father, who had passed away. As kings of the nation, they have a responsibility to make sure that they're protecting the nation at all costs. And so if any harm could potentially come to Wakanda by way of people knowing about their weapons and their technology, or their weapons and technology being shared with the entire world, it, you know, their thought processes was, you know, us sharing our resources, if that could potentially open up the gate to, like, you know, war on the world and corruption, we don't want that on our hands, and we don't want Wakanda to have been the reason why the world sees its downfall from waging war, because of the resources that we had at our disposal. And I think there's importance in that state of mind, and there's importance on that side. And then the other side of the argument was, okay, you know, it's good for Wakanda to keep its resources, you know, like I said, and Wakanda is a symbolization of Africa as a whole, but Wakanda has a duty to use its resources to help those in need in other countries that are not thriving as Wakanda. And I thought that was a beautiful thing to think about as well. And because really, at the end of the day, when you have a nation like Wakanda that is probably, like they said, the most technologically advanced, it's pretty much the dopest nation in the world, and it's hidden from the world for the most part. People don't know about the real part of Wakanda. There is importance in the side of thinking that sees people see the need to change the way things have been in the history of Wakanda, and see that Wakanda finally needed to step up and share its resources with the world, and take that risk of bad things happening, but with the aim in mind of bettering the world with those resources that at their disposal. So you know, that really was an amazing thing to think about, and I think it's an important theme for all black people to think about, whether you are the poorest black person or the richest black person. That is something that is very important to think about. And also people who are not black as well, I think it's a beautiful thing for them to think about. And you know, going from there, you know, how I wanted to transition this theme was pretty much transferring it to, I think, the dichotomy of that battle and that freedom of thinking being represented by the dichotomy of T'Challa versus Killmonger. Pretty much all in all, T'Challa was on the side of, listen, we need to keep Wakanda safe. We can't let the resources that Wakanda has lead the nation and potentially wage war, be used to wage war on the world, or it'll open the gates for corruption. We need to just keep Wakanda safe. And even though we've had black people in America and other nations going through struggle and strife for years upon years upon years, slavery, the slave trade, Jim Crow, all of that, even though black people in other nations in America have been going through that for centuries, we need to make sure we're holding down our own people, because we need to make sure that we're okay. And as the ruler of Wakanda, T'Challa doesn't want to risk anything happening to Wakanda, because that shines bad on him, that shines bad on his family and his legacy, and just the whole nation as a whole, if they were to see a downfall, especially when they decided to export their own resources. So, and then on the other side, you have Killmonger, who is the representation of the frame of thinking of, no, fuck that, black people, people of Wakanda need to use their resources to better other black people in other nations who have been suffering for a long time. And we need to make sure we restart the world, and in the new world order, black people are going to be the ones who are on top, and we're going to be the ones leading, because we have actually had all these resources for a long time, but we were just in bondage and didn't know our power. So we need to step up into our power and use the resources from Wakanda to just be lit. And I think, honestly, like I said, the beautiful part about this theme in the movie is that there's room for both sides of the argument. And I honestly think that every black person can relate to both sides of the experience. I truly think that every black person can relate to Killmonger's experience. I just like watching Michael B. Jordan on camera and just watching how he attacked that role. I think that, especially when I watched it in the movie theaters with other black people around me, I think there's something, every black person, there's something in us where everybody can, or just honestly, not even every black person, anybody who's been oppressed or just anybody who's been marginalized can relate in some type of way, or in some form or fashion, to what Killmonger was saying and his message and his, maybe not so much his delivery, but his message and what he wanted in the end. Everybody can relate to Killmonger's experience and to his view. If you've been oppressed, or if you're black, whatever, you can relate to that. And I don't think there's anybody that would tell you that, what Killmonger was saying was ridiculous and he was wrong. There's nobody that will not admit that there was some valid points that Killmonger was making, even if you didn't fully agree with him. So you have to respect that viewpoint. I think the movie beautifully was able to show how valid Michael B. Jordan, and sorry, not Michael B. Jordan, how valid Killmonger's perspective was compared to T'Challa's. And with T'Challa's perspective, every black person, I believe most black people should be able to relate to that as well, in terms of wanting to kind of take the higher road and stepping up into our own power to be empowered to help other marginalized people, even as we've been marginalized ourselves. So I think T'Challa's side really just showed, T'Challa's role in the movie and just in the story in general, I think was the person who was kind of representing taking the higher road, and black people stepping into their power and kind of realizing that we don't need to be afraid to be peaceful with the entire world, because we've been oppressed for so long that we're not afraid to finally just be peaceful, because we know what we've been through, and we want to rise above, and we want to step into our power and be a part of the whole world having peace. And so there was a beautiful part in seeing Wakanda, especially at the end of the movie, finally being ready to take a part in that pride of potentially being a nation that can use so many of its resources to help the entire world, and what that comes with. So that was the first thing that I really noticed in the movie. I know I was going on and on about that, but I feel like there's just so much nuance to this issue, and there's so many ways you can talk about it, so many ways you can frame it, and there's so many ways you can think about it, that I tried to do my best to to kind of represent both sides. But I think that was really one of the most important things in the movie, and one that I think people are going to be talking about the most, more than anything else. So I definitely wanted to talk about that first. Okay, and one more thing on this topic, guys. I want you guys to let me know down in the comment section, do you find yourself falling more on the T'Challa side of this perspective, or on the Killmonger side of this perspective? I think many people can relate to both sides of this, of the experience, and on both sides of the argument, but I want to know where you lie. I think there's a big part of me that definitely relates to what Killmonger was fighting for in the movie. But I think in the end, while it's the harder choice, I think I will, I agree with more of T'Challa's perspective in terms of taking the higher route, and black people realizing that we can use our resource, and just the continent of Africa as a whole can use its resources to help the entire world, because we can take the high road from being colonized and from being oppressed, and we can finally just say, you know what, we're amazing. We can step into our power and use our power to help the entire world, even though the world has done us wrong since like the dawn of, not the dawn of time, but since, for a long time now. So I think it's the harder choice to make, but in the end, I think I agree more with T'Challa's perspective, which in the end ended up being the perspective that I think made it to the conclusion of the movie. But let me know if you, I know there's probably a lot of black people out there that agree more with Killmonger. So if you feel like you agree more with Killmonger, and if you feel like his death was wrong, and because it didn't allow us to explore more of his viewpoint more, let me know down in the comment section, because I really want to start that argument. So yeah, just let me know all down in the comment section. Okay guys, the next theme I want to talk about in this movie that I noticed so prevalently was the theme of black on black crime. I believe that the way they embedded this theme into the movie was so subtle, but I caught it, and I really just thought it was beautifully portrayed. The theme of black on black crime was really explored in this movie with the challenge scenes and just the overall vibe of the different tribes having like beefs at different points in the movie. So for example, like in the challenge scenes, where they had to have one reigning king being challenged by a new challenger to take the throne, that to me was one of the biggest representations of black on black crime, because it represented what I think has been a really big struggle in the black community, which is black people kind of, not every black person, but a lot of black people throughout history kind of being raised on a mindset of, especially for men, to be a strong black man, it either needs to be you or the next man. It can't be two black men or multiple black men in positions of power all working together to achieve a goal or to rule a nation. There can only be one man, and if it's not you, then it's going to be somebody else. So for it to be you, you have to be defensive. You have to put your guard up, and you have to fight your way to the top to prove that you are the best man for whatever, whether that's for the job or for being a king on the throne or whatever. Like it translates to so many different aspects of being a black man in these times we're living in, and even in the past as well. So me seeing the first fight scene with T'Challa and M'Baku, and then later on the fight scene with T'Challa and Killmonger, where that's where T'Challa we thought he lost his life, and that ended up making Killmonger the new king of Wakanda. And then overall, just the beef that we kind of saw with the Jabari tribe, with T'Challa's tribe, like when all of the women, Shuri, T'Challa's mom, and Nakai, all went to the Jabari tribes where they lived in the mountains. It was like, even that scene just showed like so much tension between whether or not black people should be helping each other to overtake evil, or have it be one tribe versus the other. And we've seen that mentality with gangs, and we've seen that time and time again with black people, where there's a gang mentality, and either it's my gang or it's your gang, so one of us is going to lose in the end, so I got to take you out, so it's going to be me that's reigning on top. And I think that's a conversation that black people truly don't have enough, and that's a conversation that we need to have more often, in terms of why do sometimes we feel the need to keep persisting this gang culture in our communities, where we only see black men being able to prove their worth by fighting each other out, and not by working together in our own communities and uplifting each other for the betterment of our entire communities. No matter what your sexual orientation, no matter what your age is, no matter what hood you're from, like at the end of the day, as long as this is here, as long as this is intact, we are always going to be one people. So the movie exploring black on black crime and its effects on our communities, with those fight scenes in the water and with just the overall tensions between the different tribes in the movie, I really thought was a great conversation starter in terms of why are we like that as black people? Why are we like that? And can we move beyond that to getting to a place where we are regularly always helping each other and not having it has to be one man on top. So for him to be on top, he has to take out every other black man in his way. Are we ever gonna get to a place where that's not the case anymore? And I love that at the end of the movie, when they had the final fight scene with everybody in the movie fighting, I love that when the Jabari tribe came out and they were like, when they came out, I was like, oh my god, yes, because that symbolized us having the potential to be that, to finally get past our differences as black people, no matter what gang you're from, no matter what hood you're from, no matter what you are. And just realizing that we are all one people. We are all one beautiful race of people, from the lightest shade to the darkest shade, to the straight to the gay, to the young to the old, to from this hood to that hood. No matter who you are, from blood to crit, it don't matter. Like, we are all black people, and we really need to move toward living in a moving toward living in a way where, listen, we're just all gonna uplift each other. That's what we need. We just need more love, baby. That's all we need. We just need more love, baby. Oh, I'm feeling good right now. We need more love, y'all. Okay, the next theme that I want to talk about in the movie that I really noticed was just the importance of women to the story. That was one of the most critical things that I think this movie will not only be remembered for, but that it will be I think it will inspire many more movies to come, like it and unlike it, by just the portrayal of black female roles being at the forefront of the movie and of the story, and not in the background. Excuse me. We've seen movie after movie from Hollywood where in reality a woman or a bunch of women could have been at the forefront of the story, but the end movie didn't give us that, and it was mostly a male dominated story, or a story about a white male, or a story using a white male perspective that could have been explored from a female perspective. This is something we've seen time and time again, and in this new watershed moment of the Me Too movement, and of just sexual abuse and its and it being exposed in various industries, I think there really couldn't have been a better time for black women to have been represented at the forefront of a story and of a movie than with this Black Panther movie. We've had a ton of movies in the past that have black female leads. It's very scarce, but we've had them. But this movie was, I think, brilliant because the main protagonist was a black man and a black male character, but his story and his character arc and the battles that his character struggled with, he could not have traveled on his journey, and he could not have traveled on his character arc, and the story could not have been fully developed without the input and the heart of all the women throughout the movie. From his mom, to his ex, who was later his lover, Nakai, to his little sister, Shuri, who I think honestly was like the breakout star of the film. I think Letitia Wright is an amazing young star. I can't wait to see what she does in the future. She's an amazing young actress. I can't wait to see what you do. And to be honest, I think Shuri was like the heart of the film, and I think every scene she was in, she just stole it, and you really were just tuned into her. And on top of that, also Okoye, and just all the other amazing women that were in this movie. All the men could not have been able to have told their stories, and the story would not have made sense without the input of these women. And I think that's important to recognize because, especially in black and African households, I mean, every household is held up by women, but I think especially there's just something about African and like black households in particular. There's something about those households where it's like the women just hold it down in African and black households. Hold it down. They hold everybody down. Listen, black man, we always try to front like we always good by ourselves and we got it. But the truth is that black women are always holding our lives down in every sense. But unfortunately, in Hollywood and on TV, for like most of time, up until like, you know, up until like recently, you've never really seen a lot of black women at the forefront in lead roles and at the forefront of a story that supports a black man. At least not to this level, and not in this creative of a direction. So I really just appreciate what not only what Ryan Coogler and all the writers were able to give to these female characters, but I was just appreciative of the fact that they were central to the story, because that's something that we don't see enough, especially for black women. We see a ton of white women that are central to stories and different Hollywood movies, but we do not see enough black women being central to stories and being represented in mainstream big budget films in Hollywood. And their stories are important, and their perspectives and their representations and their skin, their beauty needs to be seen on film more. So it was amazing seeing these dark-skinned beautiful women, Danai Gurira, Lupita Nyong'o, you Letitia Wright, you Angela Bassett, you legends, you queens were amazing in the film, and it was so beautiful to see you guys pretty much be central to everything that was going on. Every aspect of the story, women were at the center of it. They were at the heart of it, and the movie was all the better for it. So shout out to everybody for that. Amazing job. Shout out to all the black women out there. Y'all are amazing. Queens. Okay guys, one of the last things I want to talk about in this movie that I noticed was the theme of, you know, this movie really dealt with kind of thinking about the decisions that would frame the future of this world, and I think that connected to the theme of internal pride, and one taking pride in their own decisions, good and bad, and just being, you know, being accountable and finding your own purpose in the midst of controversy and conflict and other voices and other people affecting you. Like I just said before, women were at the center of this movie. This movie was focused on talking about where Wakanda stood in terms of how it was going to affect the future of the world, and women were central to figuring this out, because women, they're smart and they know what they're doing. But even besides that, this movie really, I think T'Challa represented this most in the film, and just kind of his internal battle as a character. Black Panther was really struggling with, you know, being prideful and taking accountability in your personal decisions, not only within himself, but also as being the son of his father. You know, his father made the decision to kill his brother and to hide the son in America, which ended up causing the problem in the first, which ended up causing the main problem in the movie in the first place. If Killmonger had been brought to Wakanda as a child, there's a good chance the conflict never would have arose. But then again, we never would have seen a day where Wakanda would finally use its resources to help the world. So that's the whole point of the story. But still, you know, just having you know, Black Panther deal with his father killing his own brother, and what that meant for not only his father's life but his own life, being the legacy of his father, was a beautiful thing to witness. Because at the end of the day, we all have to be responsible for our decisions, good and bad. We can be accountable and prideful in the good decisions that we made, even if they were hard, and also be cognizant of the bad decisions you made and how that affected your life, or how it's continued to affect your life, and just be aware and being able-bodied and being accountable for the decisions you made. And with one man having to deal with the decision of whether or not to use his nation's resources to help the world, I think the filmmakers did a beautiful job of showing the weight of that decision for T'Challa throughout the entire movie, and how it also affected kind of everybody else in the movie. And at the end of the day, at the end, I think everybody felt good in their personal decisions. When Killmonger was dying, as he died, at least he even felt pride in his viewpoint, and to the moment he died, he felt pride in how he felt and why he wanted what he wanted out of his battle. And T'Challa and everybody else in Wakanda, by the end of the movie, they felt prideful in what they decided to do. And whether good or bad, you have to be prideful in what you do, because that's the best way to live your life as a human being. We all make mistakes, we all do great things, and you have to be accountable and prideful of both. It's important. So that was definitely one of the biggest things I noticed in the film. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about in the film, a big theme that I noticed at the very end of the movie, was the theme of gentrification. I thought that was a beautiful theme that they kind of really snuck in towards the end. I'm not really sure if it pops up in other ways throughout the beginning of the movie, but at the end, with T'Challa realizing that he wanted to buy out the apartment building or the complex building where his father killed his brother, and also the neighboring buildings, he said, listen, I'm gonna buy it. No, even though they're taking down this building, no, I'm gonna buy it. I've already bought it, and I've also bought the building over there. And he said, I bought the building over there. And you know, Jay-Z beat this topic into the ground in 2017 with his 444 album. I think one of the best albums that really talked about this topic in depth of black ownership and gentrification, and I think the lack of progress that black people have made in terms of realizing how real both of these, not how real these issues are, but how much of reality it can be for us to overcome both of these issues, you know, gentrification and black ownership. We can kind of reverse the tides if we start owning more of our own things, and if we start supporting our people who own our own things. If we keep the money of our people and you know, and of our communities in house, and if we keep our business and our, you know, everything we do in house with our own people, with our own infrastructure, like Wakanda was doing, the sky's the limit. But black people have kind of had a long road in not only seeing black ownership and kind of fighting against gentrification as a reality. So we've had a long time where this wasn't exactly a reality for, you know, for the most part. But Black Panther highlighted this issue at a great time, where especially if you have the resources as a black person, and if you want to do it, go ahead and go and own your own business, own your own life and your own legacy. Whether you're an artist, go independent. Whether you're a business owner, attempt to own your own business. And even if you're not a business owner, even if you're just a regular consumer of things and you're a black person, support our people. Go out and find your black owned businesses. And I love that it was at the end of the movie, because it showed there being a brighter future for Oakland and that particular community, with a black man with money and resources using his power and his time and energy to put in, you know, money and love into this community that needs some money and some love. So that was a brilliant topic that I think that movie touched upon in the end. And like I said, I love how it's at the end. So it could be sort of left on a positive note, that this is what we can do as black people. Now let's get to doing it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Alrighty guys, but that's been my review and my reaction to the new Black Panther movie. But I want to hear from you guys now, okay? Let me know what you guys thought about the movie down in the comment section. Did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? And I want to hear all your thoughts about my video. Did you like my reaction to the movie? What did you think about my themes and my analysis of the movie? And what did you think about what I was saying? Did you agree? Did you disagree? And I just want to hear all your thoughts. If anything I said didn't make sense, let me know. Did you think I missed anything? I just want to hear all your thoughts down in the comment section. Everything that you thought about the movie and about my video, let me know down in the comment section, because I really want to start the conversation about the themes that were in this movie, and just about where we as black people, and just as you know, all of us as a human species, where we can go moving forward from here, learning from the themes that I think were really explored deeply in this movie. So let me know everything that you thought about this movie down in the comment section. I want to know everything, okay? Cool. Alrighty guys, like I always say, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this whole video, you might as well hit it with a like right now. Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to your boy's channel. Appreciate it. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate it. Happy Black History Month. And before I get out of here, like I always say, continue to live your best life. Drink more water, stay woke, and if you are mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song, okay? Go listen to your favorite song to make you feel better. Alright guys, but I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. This has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid, and I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no. I came to fight, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just have fun.